I think there's an important discussion to make after the things that I have said in my last video, which was about human limits in progression, the limits that we have reached in scientific and physical advancements, and how it is affecting the current people, the people that are living right now on Earth. And I think there is one important thing that we should be talking about on this topic as well. I don't think that we don't need to do any more progression or any more research per se, or we need to discover new things or invent new things as of right now. We don't really need to do that. I don't think. That is my opinion, and this channel is where I talk about my opinions, and I would love to hear yours as well. But I don't think we need to, progress a little more in the sense that we need new techniques or new technologies. I think that we're not going to stop progressing and finding new techniques. But the reason why I think is that because I'm going to give an example from my work life. I see patients in our clinic and they would come in, we would talk about their problems, I would try to understand it as much as I can, and I would do some tests, some questions, I would take their history and all that, and I would try to understand the situation so that I could come up with some solutions or treatment options, or if there is anything to be treated, or if there is anything I can do. And when I present those options to my patients, usually I would encounter a resistant reaction. They would not trust the options that I'm giving them. They would have questions, obviously. They would have worries. They would have their own worries and their own expectations from their visit, basically. And we would talk a little bit more about that as well, and we would eventually agree upon some things that we can do together that also feels comfortable for my patient as well, obviously. And in those encounters, I usually see that people are not very trustworthy of the things that science or progression have brought upon us. I would see them repeating the things that their parents have or they have repeated in the past. I would see them trying to find help in other places other than science or things that have been proven. And there are some things that I don't understand in those situations, because we are taught that evolution has brought us up to a point where we are drawn towards situations where we benefit something, or we are most probably are going to be alive. Knowing that and seeing my patients needing some help, and me proposing some help, and them declining or not being sure about my help in some capacity, makes me question why. Because it doesn't really make sense when you think about it from an evolutionary point or a scientific point. And I also encounter this in my social interactions as well. I would see my friends, or I would see people that are close to me, decline help from other people that have been proven to work. I think there is a question to ask that. I think we should ask why. Why is many people are not trustworthy of science, or are not trustworthy of progression, the things that we have discovered? Why are people not very keen on those things, and why are they searching things from other places? There might be some psychological underlying things or underlying forces lurking there. Obviously, there are habits, there are emotions, there are things that bring worry or anxiety to people that make them move or act in specific ways. And those things aside, what I also see with those people, with my patients or with my friends specifically, I can only talk from my experience, is that even though we have progressed so much as humanity, as a species, we have also experienced many things in that progression. And those things that we have experienced collectively have left some marks on collective subconscious per se. What I mean by that is that people have some problems or some trust issues with healthcare systems all around the world. It's not just specific to where I work, or it's not just specific to one country. We have seen that in COVID. We are also still seeing it today in many topics regarding health and healthcare systems. There are also things that the rich have done that made some marks on public opinion or shaped some public opinion. And I kind of understand some of those points because I'm going to talk about science and healthcare because that is my area and that is what I know. And I can confirm that in scientific research and scientific paper, when we research something, we expect it to be groundbreaking, which is one thing that I have talked about in my last video as well. We expect it to be groundbreaking and bring joy or bring some solution to a problem that many people are facing, and we are expecting it to help people, but we don't really understand how that solution that we have found can be packaged and how that package can impact the people that those solutions are reaching. Because in the past, some solutions have reached people in negative ways, in different ways, and that have left some marks. Or people are going to, obviously, because of human psychology, are going to have some worries or questions about new things. And in our current age, there is a new thing every day, and it is very understandable to see people questioning these new things. They're going to question if it is working or not, if it is going to bring any harm to them if they use it, and those things are very understandable. So because of these things, I think that human capacity to catch up with novelty is not really there to accept new progression or new technology or new techniques right now. Of course, we're talking about AI. Of course, there are new techniques, but I don't think we have caught up to the techniques or the technology that we have discovered as of right now. Because of that, I think we need to find some other things to understand the things, to make it more understandable, the things that we have discovered as of right now in human history, so that we can use those things that we have discovered way more effectively, so that we can help ourselves and help each other more. And because of that, I think in our current age, communication is way more important than other scientific findings. Of course, every scientific finding is important, but because of the problems that we are facing in our current world, in our current situations, we need to find ways to connect more effectively, communicate more effectively, understand each other more effectively, so that we can organize more effectively in our societies, in our lives, so that we can get the most benefits from being a human on this earth. And I also think this approach in communications, or the techniques and the technology and the advancements of our current age, can affect us, can help us reach to the ones that are most in need. Because I also see that the misuse the advancements we have today, and we are not really using the techniques and the technologies we have discovered up until now as effectively as we can. We don't have to do anything perfectly. That's not what I'm trying to say. But we can communicate and take it a little slower, like slow down a little bit, talk to each other with what we can do, with the things that we have in our disposal, and how we can create a better world at the end of the day. Because those scientific findings, those discoveries that have been made up until this point, have been made so that we can live in a better world. For some of us, that is true. So for some of us, we are living in a better world, but for some of us, it is not true. And this inequality, these problems, I think can be addressed with more effective communication. That is my opinion. You might also have your own opinion about this. I would love to hear that. This is my opinion because that is from my experience working in healthcare. But there might be some other perspectives, obviously. But I'm quite advocate about the current biggest problem of our age being communication and using the techniques and the technologies as effectively as we can. So thanks for listening to me. If you have liked this video, please leave a like down below. I would love to hear your comments and opinions, so leave them down in the comment section below. If you have liked this video, you can subscribe to see more videos like this. This is for today. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.